The Apsaalooke Women and Warriors collection opened here at the Museum of the Rockies on Memorial Day, and it's the first museum in the world outside of the Chicago Field Museum to display this thoughtfully curated collection. And for Montana's Crow Nation, it's certainly a homecoming.
For Crow people, it's a historic event. For the Museum of the Rockies, it's a historic event.
Nina Sanders is a curator, writer, and historian, and she breathes Crow culture into everything she does.
Our sacred objects have agency, and they leave us and return to us on their own accord. And so it would be understood that it was meant to be that these items came here.
Sanders, who is from Crow Agency, is the curator of the Apsaalooke Women and Warriors exhibition, which she compiled thoughtfully with the Chicago Field Museum.
We were interested in this exhibit even when it was, under construction and being curated at the Field Museum because of the way in which it was put together. They worked very closely with the curator of the exhibit, Nina Sanders, who was a member of the Crow tribe. And rather than just having one curator go through and look at a bunch of artifacts in the field collection, Nina brought members of her community out to the field. So she brought her friends, she brought tribal elders, educators, historians out there to look at the very extensive collection of Crow materials that were at the Field Museum. So in a way, it's very much of a exhibit that's curated by a community.
On display are war shields, regalia, bundles, and art, as well as contemporary music and fashion produced by the Crow people.
At the center of this is the 7 Crow war shields that were collected by Sims, who was one of the agents for the Field Museum. He came out to the Crow Reservation in the early 1900s and collected, I believe it was over 77 war shields, and many of those war shields were exchanged to other museums on the part of the Field Museum, and many of them stayed there. And they've been in that collection at the Field Museum in Chicago for over 100 years, close to 120, I believe. And 7 of them have returned to Crow Country.
The Apsaalooke Women and Warriors exhibition is on display at the Museum of the Rockies through December of this year. In Bozeman, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.